Victoria Jane Asher, also known as Vicky-T, is an American musician, artist, and director. She's the guitarist of the award-winning band Cobra Starship. She records solo albums under the name Vicky-T. She's a director of many music videos and commercials. She created a company, her own company, Muted Color, as a way to release her own music. Through Muted Color, she's released Clouds, Turn It Low, Ghost, Another Word for Paradise, Kryptonite Hollow, and her 4-track EP, which I highly recommend, Feeling Myself Without You. She's teamed up with her boyfriend, Trent Colkin, to take over Muted Color. They're making it into a production company and artist collective. Everybody, welcome to the show, Vicky-T.
Hello.
I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. So firstly, it's awesome to actually meet you because obviously we both were in the same band. She was in the band prior to me. I then came in and felt terrible that I was, taking over your job and felt bad given the circumstances. And, if I were in your place, I would have hated me. So, here we are.
Yeah. So I can't believe that you at any point felt bad. Wasn't your fault at all.
Yeah.
Obviously. I had a big problem just in life in general, and it bled over to, in the band. I was just very uncomfortable. And what I noticed about you, what I think I know about you, is you seem to be like pretty easygoing. Like, how do people describe your personality?
Generally very easygoing. And I've kind of always been a tomboy of sorts, I guess. Mm-hmm. So like, one of the number one things, which maybe you got asked the same thing, but while I was in the band, it was always, what's it like being the only girl in the band? And I was like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's fine. Like it's
really
great. Yeah. And I think like at one point it was like, my response was like, oh, I have the best pair of tits in the band, and that was like, that would get a laugh at least. But it was like, I just thought that there was like more to it than just being the only girl in the band. But I grew up always having guy friends. I have very few girlfriends, sadly. It's not like really a planned thing. But so for me to be in a band with all guys was like totally normal. Like I preferred to be with all guys. If I had been with all girls, I think we would have killed each other.
Okay. So you get along with men well. So even when you're in a bus with, how many men would you say you lived with, in that bus?
Probably like 10 at all times, pretty much, because we would have, like sound guy and our security guy and lights and,
Yeah.
Merch,
so you were
everything.
Fine with that? You were like comfortable?
Totally fine. And I had it down to an art where I would like change my clothes, like with like one shirt over and then like flip the dress like underneath or whatever. Like I was skilled.
Wow, that is amazing. So you were very comfortable. You're used to being friends with guys. You've actually been in the entertainment industry your whole life. You started as a director. Is that how you broke in? Like, what was your big break? How did you start?
So I always wanted to work in film. My dad always worked in music, but I had no interest in being involved in music. But I had a band when I was 16, I guess. So I guess I was partially interested in music, but film for me, it was like, I want to direct, I want to produce, like that's all I want. And I also wanted to be behind the camera for sure. And then I was like having a fucking meltdown, didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was studying film at NYU and I was working for the director, Michel Gondry. And I thought I was on the path towards film, but it was kind of like nothing was really panning out. And I was dealing with a horrible breakup with my boyfriend. And I was—
How old were you, Vicky? I think you were very young during this crisis.
I guess early 20s.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So something happened.
So I was adult enough. Yeah. But I'm someone that like breakups in me are just bad news. When I fall in love, it takes me a very long time to get over it. But I was with someone who now he's one of my best friends in the world, but we had a very tumultuous relationship for 7 years and he was very jealous. And we had had like one of our many breakups and literally like right when I was like, I don't know what to do with my life, I got a phone call being like, hey, this is Alex Suarez. And we knew each other through my boyfriend at the time. And he was like, oh, like, you know, our singer, he found your page through MySpace. And I wondered if you wanted to like go on tour with our band, Cobra Starship. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll do that for a month and then I'll go back to film. And instead it was like 10 years of my life. It was totally unexpected. And I mean, I'm ultimately glad I did. But when I first joined, it was rough. The guys were really harsh on me, as I'm sure you
Really?
experienced. Yeah.
They were harsh on you? How so?
Gabe wasn't. Gabe was always like super chill and nice and great to me, but like Ryland picked on me a lot, and
Wow, that
all of
really
them.
surprises me. That really surprises me because I
Yeah,
thought, like, in my mind, I had this, vision of what happened, right? I just like
yeah,
created it in my own mind. So I
right.
thought, once they got rid of me, they were just so happy that I was gone that like you were just an angel that appeared and they would just kiss your ass.
No.
No? Oh,
Definitely
really?
not. I was sobbing most of the time. But I at least though, like I was so kind of hardened by having guy friends my whole life and knowing how to deal with guys picking on me and stuff that I just didn't really deal with their shit. And Gabe was always more and more just like, man, like no one can fuck with Victoria. She's a fucking, she like will not, take shit from anyone. But
So
like
when
they're
people pick on you,
hmm.
when people pick on you, how do you react to that?
uh I don't know. Somehow I kind of brush it off. I think so. Growing up, I was like totally the uncool kid. Like I was made fun of like crazy in school. I was the weird tall girl. I was the girl no one would dance with at dances. So I had my fair share of getting made fun of. So I think that I don't know. I guess I just somehow became more callous to that, even though I'm like the most sensitive person in the world. Um,
Uh,
but I just I don't know. I somehow just knew to be like fuck these people. But I would definitely get hurt by it. I don't know.
Yeah. What was your most fun time on tour? Did you get with any celebrities, anything fun like that?
Uh yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun on tour for sure.
Okay.
I don't kiss and tell. But
Oh,
there are some celebrity relationships and I I don't know, it's such a love-hate relationship for me. Like I am someone that suffers in general from like grass is always greener. I think I'm going to have that my whole life. But while I was on tour, like I loved it in so many ways, but then I also was kind of like, oh, my passion is film, you know, and I'd have days where I'd be like, oh, I'm just like on stage to be like a pair of tits on stage.
oh.
And
Did you feel like they underused you at all?
I think with some things probably, but I don't know. I also was like scared of asking for what I wanted.
Me
I think.
too. That
Yeah.
is my main problem. In fact, I had to be drunk to ask you on the show.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I went to the Waldorf Astoria rooftop with my neighbor Brandon the other day.
uh,
And I had 2 sangrias. And then finally, I wrote to you. But if it wasn't for that, I am just so scared to ask for things that I really want. And I don't know why that is. And I really want to get past that because look at this. Like, this is going great, in my opinion.
yeah.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah. Totally enjoying myself. I mean, I
Okay.
think that it's like a muscle that you need to build. Like you just need to keep asking for what you want and be confident in it, even though it's much, easier said than done. But yeah, I don't know. I think that I was like a little intimidated to ask what I wanted. I also feel like I wasn't as kind of business savvy and I didn't know. I don't know. I can't define it. Maybe I can't
So,
define it.
so what I was wondering about you is, on the Cobra Starship, like top hits, they always had a woman singing. And
Yeah.
I was never that woman, and I don't think they made you that woman. And I was
Mm-mm.
wondering, you sing, you're great. I was listening to your music all week this week, and I thought you were so amazing. Like, did you ever think, man,
Aw.
if they would have just put me in one of those songs as like a duo, you could, build more off that. Did you ever think that way?
I definitely wanted to. I mean, the most that I got is that I got to do my song "Disaster Boy," so I'm singing on that, and I mean, there's tracks where I have like plenty of my vocals in it, but as far as the lead part, obviously it wasn't me. But then I would always do the lead part live, and yeah, I mean, I wish I had been on the recording, but whatever.
Same here, Vicky. Same here. Okay, so let's take some questions. Let's start with my fiance. I'm going to introduce you to my fiance right now, Andy Dick.
Oh,
Andy.
hey, baby.
Andy, what the heck is going on? Your audio is so weird. You're on with Vicky-T Asher from the band Cobra Starship. What is your question?
Hi, Andy.
So, she's my fiance. Mhm.
Andy, what the heck is going on over there? It's like a huge party.
It's bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am not gonna fucking lie to you. It's bad. See, you guys, I'm doing a goddamn podcast.
Andy, go in your room. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Vicky. So I got engaged 2 weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going like just like that.
Uh-huh.
After he proposed to me, he disappeared. And now, he's part of this podcast. He's like pretty much my co-host here, but every time I see him, he's with like 1 million people. And
he has 2 cameras of him, apparently. It keeps going like double. I don't know if you're seeing that.
No, I am seeing that. I'm just going to let him fix that, and I'm going to bring him back on. But anyway, he asked to have a baby with me. I was never one to want children. I never really thought of that. Are you the family type? Do you imagine yourself married with kids?
I don't know. I always thought I would have kids if it made sense, like if financially and I was with the right person, sure. But I wasn't going to be one of those people that like fell victim to like, carrying, like obsessing over like biological clocks ticking and pressuring something that wasn't right. So we'll see if it ends up being the right situation. I'm down, but we'll see.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And another thing I wanted to ask you was, after you went to normal jobs after Cobra Starship, or are you just like chilling?
No. So, I pursued my own solo music for a long while afterwards. And primarily, it wasn't even necessarily like about like having a solo pop career or something. I was just interested in songwriting and wanted to like really pursue it. So I was traveling all over Europe, working with a lot of awesome, super talented people and just creating a whole body of music. Some of the stuff I released is my own Vicky-T project, and then other stuff it was pitching to other artists to hopefully get it out there. Nothing was really happening. I then started a label with some investors, and a lot of the money went in the wrong places because they didn't really understand the music business. And now I'm like managing songwriters and producers, which is funny and interesting. But
what's that like?
It's been great. I have really talented clients, and I enjoyed connecting the dots of like getting them in the right rooms and, writing stuff for certain artists. And then on the side though, I'm pursuing the film thing, and my boyfriend and I developed a docu-series with our friend Helena during COVID, and we filmed 2 episodes, and now we're in the process of getting it out to networks and getting it pitched and blah, blah, blah.
So Vicky, I have some advice to ask of you. Andy and I are thinking of pitching a show about our like marriage and our possibly adopting a child. How would we go about doing that? I have no idea. Andy's done it before. How do you start doing that?
This is something that I'm learning still, but I mean, we created a very...
Baby, I've already learned it, and I know how to do it.
Oh, you know how to do it, Andy?
Yeah, baby.
All right, good. All right, okay.
That's why you said yes to me.
Isn't he so cute?
So cute. Andy, I've been in the same room with you many, many times in person, but I don't know if you remember.
Wait, when was that, Vicky? When were you in the same room as Andy here?
Just multiple parties and stuff. We've been at the same places. I can't pinpoint exactly where, but it's been many times.
Don't tell me you're engaged to Andy too.
Oh yeah, I am too.
That would really be something.
And we're adopting a kid too, so.
So is Andy your like type? Like, what's your type of guy? I know you're dating the actor Trent Culkin now. Like, what is your usual type of guy that you go for?
I definitely have a history of always like tall and dark hair. Seems to always be the trend.
Me too.
For me, just someone needs to be really smart. I've like dated like beautiful men that are just boring and not smart, and I can't do it. I'm not interested in looks. For me, it's like there needs to be something more unique. And actually, my boyfriend Trent, when I was first looking at photos of him and stuff, I was judging a book by his cover, like thinking like, oh, he's just too beautiful. He's probably going to be really boring, which is a total asshole way of perceiving him. And then I met him though, and I was like, man, he's such a good human being, and he's really smart, and he's great. And what's nice is that this is like the first relationship I've been in where it truly feels like we're a team, and we like create stuff together, and we are really supportive of one another. Because I always had boyfriends that were super intimidated by my success and like
really,
oh yeah, always.
So you would date down, Vicky?
Guess so. I mean, I never thought I was at the time, but then I always kind of took that turn where I was not made to feel good to like look pretty or to pursue things or to like when I'd get, attention for things, it was kind of, just no male ego.
Wow. I had never considered dating down before. That's interesting that you would do that. I wonder why. So, that's very interesting. What are you saying, Andy?
Baby, you never considered dating down, but you're dating me.
Well, Andy, I admire you a lot. You're hilarious. You're wonderful. You're a lot better than what you think, Andy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're awesome.
Well, my question was like, in music, there's like a lot of like sex parties I've kind of gotten. Like, did you ever experience that? Like a lot of like kind of like people blowing each other. And I one time had a radio agent who was like, I've heard stories, but there was nothing like that. Like where there's like, like who's who, like who do you have to sleep with to get onto this record?
No, not at all. I mean, I also though Cobra Starship, everyone was in a relationship, so they were all tame. I mean, they were crazy, but not in the orgy way. But yeah, maybe I don't know. There was a story I was going to tell, but I'm like, people get very offended easily nowadays, so I feel like I'm not going to say it. But no orgies on the bus or anything like that.
So there was a question from someone in the audience. What did Cobra Starship tell Vicky about Elisa when Vicky joined the band?
They weren't the friendliest about Elisa. I mean, there wasn't like major shit talk, but it was like, oh, we just didn't blend well together. I think the only complaint that I can really remember is that you like brought fans on the bus sometimes, and so that's what they would get mad about. I don't know, but that was the extent of it. But they were just like, yeah, it just wasn't the right fit. Like she was nice, but just didn't fit well with the band.
Andy, you look deep in thought.
I'm wondering what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. So Andy, as my fiance, you should know. I don't think you actually know anything about me. So I used to be in a band called Cobra Starship, and and they kicked me out and they replaced me with Vicky here.
Where? Oh, you told me this.
Yeah,
you told me this 3 days ago.
Yes, I did. And now she's our guest on Kermit and Friends. So everybody's asking her questions. So the fans of Kermit and Friends are so curious about her. She's been gracious.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
Why did they fire you, Elisa, and hire her?
I can answer that. So I just didn't really get along with them.
She can answer it too.
Well, okay, we'll both answer. I mean, what I think it is I just really didn't get along with them. I knew it from the beginning, actually, because we would be in the car driving to rehearsal, and it would be kind of awkward, completely silent in the car. So everybody would be in the car and there would be no conversation. I was just so uncomfortable. And I already have a lot of social anxiety anyway. So that on top of it just made me very like, it was just very awkward. It was like a bad date for like a year straight.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what it felt like. And you know, when you're on a bad date and it's just so weird and you're like, what? I'm great. They're great. Because I mean, there's no doubt about it. This guy, Gabe, I mean, you don't meet a lot of people like that. I think I've met a handful of people, maybe 2 or 3 people in my lifetime, or when you meet them, you're just like, wow, this person is a star. This person is a star. There's only one of them. I mean, anywhere he goes, you know, people notice him when he speaks, people listen to him. He was just so charismatic that it just, I mean, anyone would be, you know, wanting to know him. You know, so I felt that way. I really did feel that way towards him. I admired him for his talent. But just because someone's very talented, and this is something I've learned throughout my life, you know, just because somebody's talented doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get along with that person. Doesn't mean you're, you know, similar to that person at all. You know, you just may not get along. And that's just what happened there. And even if I can admire him for his talent and his charisma and his obvious like good looks, I mean, he's one of the best looking people I've seen in person or on TV. So even if you admire people for that reason, it doesn't mean that they have the same heart as you or they have the same feelings as you. And it's funny when you know, I've had jobs since, you know, I worked on the Howard Stern show. I worked at a gold company. And it's funny, I do not go towards the Gabe types. I go towards kind of the weirdos because I'm a weirdo. I've been a weirdo my whole life. So if there was a band full of like weirdos that didn't fit in, that would be more me than with like a guy that's kind of like a superstar, movie star type.
Yeah, same.
You too?
I mean, it's same. But what's funny though is that I don't know, somehow our type of weird just meshed well. I mean, like I said though, I mean, it wasn't easy. Like it wasn't an immediate, you know, all getting along. I mean, I feel like when I was first kind of trying out and not sure if I was even in the band or not, I think we were all vibing really well. But then once we were on the bus though, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like picking on me. Yeah, it just that was rough. But then I kind of just like navigated and knew their different personalities and knew that I could stand up to them. Like I even remember the funniest thing was that I remember specifically, and by the way, I was just going to say like the fact that you acknowledged though that like, yeah, you guys just didn't necessarily blend well together is totally fine and legit. Like, I mean, some people just don't blend well together. And that was basically what they communicated to me was like, yeah, it wasn't working. Our personalities just were not matching up. Sorry. These comments, I'm like, what's going on? What was I getting to? Oh, okay. I can remember this one time in particular. So during the whole Cobra Starship phase where everyone was we were all wearing the neon stuff, I hated it. And I remember us doing a photo shoot and I'm like crying. I did not want to wear the clothes. And then finally I found something that was like somewhat decent enough. And I remember that we were at like some store and Gabe was like, okay, we all need to wear windbreakers on stage. Like we should all wear matching windbreakers on stage. And I was like, fuck that. I was like, I'm not wearing a windbreaker. I was like, that's cool for you guys to wear it. Like guys wearing windbreakers, fine. I don't want to wear it. I wear dresses. And they were like, no, we need to all wear the same. I was like, I'll make a skirt out of the windbreaker or something. Like I'm not wearing a windbreaker. And then Gabe was like, what if I told you I had to? And you wouldn't be in the band anymore. I'm like, guess you need to find another guitar player. Like I was like, there's no way I'm putting up with that shit. Like I just started to, talk back. Like I was like, fine, find someone else. I don't care. Like.
Good for you. You have a lot of balls. Let's take another question from Lori Bolton. Lori Bolton, you're on with Vicky-T from Cobra Starship.
Hello.
So the only song that I know by Cobra Starship, because they blew up when I was like very young, would be Good Girls Go Bad. But I was wondering, what was your favorite song to perform?
Great question.
We performed it very few times actually, but Well, I guess I don't know. The one that we like commonly played, like, yeah, Good Girls Go Bad was really fun to play because I loved singing it, and I loved the whole interaction that Gabe and I would have on stage. That was really fun. But prostitution is the world's oldest profession, or whatever the hell the title is. That was my favorite. I just loved the keyboard parts on that are really fun, and I would dance around. So that was my favorite, but we rarely played it. I was all sad when that got taken off of the playlist. I was all bummed, whereas the rest of the guys were like, oh, thank God we don't have to play that song. I was like, I love that song. Hi,
Hey,
K-Bot.
Vicky-T. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
My name is K-Bot.
It's awesome.
Vicky-T, you said you took piano lessons as a kid. When you took piano lessons as a child, did you yourself ever write or try and create your own songs as a kid?
I did.
Could you tell us or sing a portion of it right now?
Oh God. Oh God, they're terrible. Oh my God, there was one. I remember like
I too, when I was a little baby robot, was taking piano lessons as well inside of a giant church with Count Dracula.
Wow. Can I hear that song?
Well, no, the piano teacher, my mother and father left me at this church, and the piano teacher was 187 years old inside this giant church teaching me Bach and Beethoven. But Vicky-T, please, let's hear some of your work.
I had a terrible song called I'm like, which terrible song should I say? There was one that was like hey there, girl, you look real sad. Standing with your dad. Oh my God, it was so bad. But
that's so cute.
I was heavily into, probably no one will probably know this band, but I was very into this band BIS at the time, BIS. And they're a Scottish, like little kind of like punk pop band. And dude, all I wanted was to sound like them. So that song is very BIS sounding.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So when you reached out to me about my article I wrote for Marie Claire about the sexism, how do you feel that has affected you personally?
Sexism in general, or
yeah. Like what do you think it's hurt anything as far as your career or as far as your life?
I mean, I think the hardest part for me, relating to kind of like judgment as a woman in entertainment, is that the thing that drove me crazy was like on tour, if I kind of wanted to keep to myself certain tours and didn't really feel like socializing and hanging out, I was perceived as bitchy. And if I was hanging out with everyone and like, because I would ride all the time on Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker's bus, there was absolutely nothing sexual in any shape or form. We were totally chill. We were just all friends and we would hang out. But everyone, of course, was talking about me. Ooh, she's riding on the bus. Like, I'm sure she's fucking everyone, blah, blah, blah. And it was that stuff. It was kind of like, God, can I not just like be a girl hanging out? Like, do I have to be either the bitch or the slut? And that drove me nuts. Like that's, I think, was the biggest thing that killed me about being on tour with a lot of guys. That was the most frustrating.
And then since doing your solo career with all these awesome songs and videos that you have, did you feel like any sexism or anything about being like a woman in the industry was holding you back for your solo career?
No, I think because I just had full control over it and it was just fun to pursue. Like for me, it was just like a kind of expression of art that I wanted to get out there. And it's kind of like throwing it at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Nothing really happened with any of the songs, but I'm still proud of them. And that song in particular, the music video is all one take. And so there's no cuts in that whole thing. And basically the song was playing back like double speed during the verses and half speed during the chorus, so that it had like a cool effect once it was edited in proper time. And it was just wild because I literally just kind of asked people to show up for the shoot. None of them had heard the song before. And then they're having to hear the song double or half time and try to sing the lyrics as best that they could while we shoot it. And I'm just really proud of how it turned out because we only did it twice. we filmed the thing twice, and luckily we got like enough of a cool take.
And the cool thing about, writing a song like that is you can say exactly what you've wanted to say to people and make sure they really hear it. Because sometimes, when you're faced with a situation where, people aren't treating you right, or, you feel like you're being held back, it's hard to express it, but through music you can.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So that's what I love about it.
And I loved combining the like visual element with it as well. So like that was all stuff that I was directing and making, and it was just really fulfilling. I didn't make any money, but so I eventually like had to also have a job as well as pursuing the arts. But
So what was your job when you were working on this? Because I know music videos are so expensive. What was your job that was funding your solo career?
No job, credit cards. Big mistake. It was kind of like investing in it, hoping that, I had money saved up from Cobras, and I was using my credit cards a lot, got into some credit card debt. So I was foolish about that. But, in my head, it was kind of like, okay, like I'm going to invest in this thing and I hope it works out. Sadly, I didn't make money from it. But then I, kind of went back to film stuff. I started working at Blumhouse Entertainment, which was amazing. And I loved working at Blumhouse. And then now I'm working managing songwriters and producers, but still always pursuing the arts on the side. And, hopefully one day the arts are going to work out. It's going to be my own solo thing that I don't have to say anything to anyone else.
Yeah, no, that's the dream, right? Just doing what you love, expressing yourself, really being you. I
Totally.
mean,
And how about you? I feel like I'm just blabbing about all my shit. I want to know like what you are up to and what your pursuits have been.
Well, my pursuits, I always love just anything creative. I really love doing this show because, I'm in complete control over it. Whether something happens with it or not is completely up to me. So there's a lot of beauty in that, and I can make it just a tapestry of everything I love. So I love humor. I love interviewing people. I love Muppets. I love just connecting with people and making the world a better place. So I want to put a spotlight on people. I mean, obviously you've been celebrated, right? In your life, obviously you're like a celebrity, you're a pop star. Andy has too, and me somewhat as well. But there's also other people that are on this show that haven't experienced that. And I want them to feel that too, because there is something to it where you can reach people and really express yourself and be honest. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's a really powerful place, to come from. I went through a lot of sadness, when I was fired from Cobra Starship. I went through so much sadness. I didn't think I could get through it, Vicky. I got to be honest.
Sure, man. I again, that's why I felt such empathy for you, because I was like, I'm sure that had to have sucked. I'm sure you I mean, it's amazing if you didn't hate me, but if it had been turned, I would have been like, that fucking bitch, whatever. Even though obviously it wasn't my fault. It wasn't like I stole it away from you, but it was not anything to do with me. But still, no matter what, if you have a boyfriend and they get a new girlfriend, you hate the girl anyway, Yeah, but
it made me really grow as a person. I'll tell you that, because you can't really grow as a person unless you go through some kind of pain. I always felt that. So I went through so much pain, hearing the Cobra Starship songs everywhere on the radio and cabs and stores. I mean, I couldn't escape it. So that kind of pain that follows you everywhere, it has to make you grow in some way. So absolutely. I feel like I grew, and I took all the angst and all the anger I had from that situation. I felt like I was wronged, but all those feelings, I really tried to make something of it. So, I wrote songs. I used that. I was like, I need to succeed. I need to succeed so bad. So when I had an opportunity at the Howard Stern show, I was like, I'm going to make the most of this. I am not going to sleep on another opportunity, because we don't have, unlimited opportunities in life. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could count a handful of opportunities I've had. Cobra Starship is definitely one. The Howard Stern show is one. Just really not that many. So at the end of the day, I feel like I have to create my own opportunities. So that's why I'm doing this show. That's why I am really passionate about, making it the best that it can be. And I truly enjoy it. And I really enjoy the fact that nobody can fire me from it. All right. I have a Cowboys fan here who's also a Vicky-T fan. Cowboys fan, what's your question for Vicky-T?
What's up? Well, it's not me. I think has the question is my wife. She runs a channel with me here on YouTube, baby.
Awesome.
Yeah. But Vicky, my question real quick is the video for Guilty Pleasure. I know it said that you directed it, but who came up for the dance for it? Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man, I'm telling you right now, my kids think I'm crazy, but I still do it now.
I love that. I always wanted to do a music video that had you know, some kind of synchronized dance, and I thought that was like the easiest dance to do. And I got to say that was actually like to go back to the question of like what was one of my favorite songs to perform.
Mhm.
Guilty Pleasure was definitely one of my favorites because I just loved every time I saw the audience doing that dance. I was like, man, they saw the video that I made. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, again, it was awesome. Again, the whole Viva La Cobra album was like amazing. Thank you.
I love that. Of course. Thank you. I was like, I wanted to see the voice.
Yeah, sorry, I know, just in the
Hi.
Hi.
Wow, what a sweetheart. Okay, so people also sent me in questions. You know, you're still in the prime of your life, Vicky. What dreams do you hold for the future? What are some things left you'd like to accomplish that you haven't already?
So when Cobras ended, I was very sad. And then I kind of had this moment of like, if I was an old lady on my deathbed and I was reflecting back on my life, what are the things I wish I had accomplished? So for me, it was putting out solo music and directing a feature horror film. So directing a feature horror film is the next thing in line. I'm currently working on a script for a feature horror film and hoping it'll be finished by this year. And then hopefully I'll direct it and it'll come out and then tick that one off.
Oh, that would be amazing. That sounds like fun too.
And you're asking how my experience was with Cobras?
Yeah.
Or
How was your experience with Starship? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Like, what's your?
I would say that it was totally a love-hate relationship. You know, they felt like brothers to me. They were my best friends, but also sometimes my enemies. You know, when you're living and working with people for that long in close quarters, you guys definitely get on each other's nerves. And there are moments where you can't stand each other. But I think the hardest part for me is that since the band was over, I always tried to, you know, maintain the relationship that we all had. Like I was like, hey, like I want all of you to come over and I'll cook you guys dinner. We'll all hang out. And I didn't hear back for a while. And then I finally heard back from Ryland and he was just like, oh, if you're wanting to get the band back together, like, yeah, we don't want to be pressured into that. And I'm like, no, actually I was trying to do something nice so we could all come together, and we've worked together that long and to be kind of a community, you know? So I think for me, since then, like it was a great experience, again, good and bad, but I'm all about maintaining relationships with everyone in my life, and I'm a little disappointed that I don't. I'm still close with Gabe, but I don't see the other ones ever. So
I'm sorry to hear that, but you know what, Vicky, sometimes things just take time.
yeah,
You know, they might be hurt for some reason, and
who knows?
and it
Or
could,
it's just like moving on, like that's a different part of their life, and
yeah.
I know a lot of people
that's
do
them.
that, but
That's their situation. That has nothing to do with you. So
Yeah.
I admire that you reached out, and I say to people that are watching here today, do not be afraid to be the person that reaches out, because Vicky here, right? She reached out to me several times and I wasn't ready. Okay. And that has nothing to do with who she is as a person. It had to do with what I was dealing with at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes, you know, people are just not ready, but always be that person that reaches out, because you just never know what could happen. And, you know, you never know what relationships you can build. And everybody got to see what a great person that you are today. You know, all these people here, and I know they appreciated it. I appreciate it.
I appreciated being able to do this with you. And I think actually when I reached out to you saying that, you know, I hope that there was no bad blood between us, you were like totally nice in return with me. I agree with you with like, don't be scared to reach out. For me, I don't want any bad blood with anyone in my life. And sometimes if you reach out to people and they reject you, like that's on them. Fine. You know? But like, cause I've falling out with like an ex, you know, I try to kind of I was like, hey, like, I don't like that things ended badly. I don't believe in having bad blood with anyone. But then he rejected it, and it's kind of like, all right, fine. Like, I mean, he was the jerk to begin with.
Well, the thing is, Vicky, I feel like
not everyone can take that.
See, the thing is, if you reach out to somebody, an ex, or somebody that has wronged you or you feel that's wronged you and they don't respond, sometimes I just don't want to hurt myself like that. I don't want to put myself through any unnecessary like pain.
Yeah.
But maybe that pain is good for some reason. Maybe it could lead you to something or lead you to a realization or make you better. So would you say to not be afraid of that pain? Like when you reached out to like Ryland and Alex and they kind of like rejected you, how were you able to process those feelings?
I think the most important thing is to be to look at your actions. Like, did I do anything shitty in this situation? Like, was I a jerk by asking this thing? Like, no, I was being nice. And, if someone chooses to reject like you're reaching out or like an attempt at connection, then again, I think that's on them. And I think you just need to not take the rejection as like something that you did wrong. It's kind of like, well, I tried and that's it.
Yeah. All right. So
I think you should definitely know when to stop reaching out. I'm not saying like, oh, just keep them reaching out and trying to make it happen. It's like, no, like close that door if it needs to be closed. But to be the bigger person and try and make friends or make nice, like that's not bad.
Yeah, we're not trying to tell people to stalk anyone or show up at anybody's house. We're just saying reach out if you feel, because you never know when you're not going to have the chance anymore because, people are dying left and right all over right now. There's illness. There's so many problems in this country. Now is your time. Now is the time that you have. Reach out to people if you care for them, if you feel like you could give to them. Actually, in Kabbalah class, they told me, never reach out to someone if you want something from them. Only reach out to someone if you have something to give. And I generally go by that rule.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah. So, Vicky, what do you want to promote?
Gosh, I guess I don't have the thing to promote right now because I'm in the process of like starting to have the meetings to pitch this docuseries that I created. So until that's out in the world, I can't really talk about it. But I am going to be putting out some new music finally. I have a ton of music that has just been sitting around and I'm like, why don't I just like put out another EP and put it out there? So that'll be coming out. But otherwise, I have my Instagram at Vicky-T. So that way, when this does happen, then I can promote to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vicky, for coming on the show. You have been so amazing.
You too.
You exceeded my expectations. You're just such a beautiful person inside and out. And it's truly been a blessing meeting you. And I hope this is not the last time we hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was lovely to finally meet you over this.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Vicky. God, I just love her.
They say it's been a long time coming, and we've all had enough. Something's always bound to happen when push comes to shove.